Hi there, my name is Alex, and I'm the Director of Education with the Canadian Institute of Home Inspectors. I want to thank you for joining us today. We're going to be doing an inspection on a 2005 townhouse built in Calgary, Alberta. Before we start our inspection process training video, I'd like to bring up two key points. Firstly, home inspections are not code compliance inspections. While some inspectors may be well versed in a multitude of codes and standards, they are not required to know these by provincial regulations. Secondly, while we're demonstrating our recommended inspection process, feel free to use what suits you best and augment those that don't. So, let's get started. When beginning your exterior inspection, you'll want to inspect from multiple distances away from the structure. This will allow you to gain different perspectives, mitigating the probability of you missing defects. We recommend to begin in one isolated corner of the structure, such as the side without gate access. Complete an entire loop going one way around the structure and then retrace your steps going the other way. This will help you spot deficiencies that may be missed from certain viewpoints. Also, if the structure has many complex features, you may want to perform a third walk around to ensure you don't miss anything. It is very common to find vegetation at the exterior walls of homes. We recommend that these be removed from the cladding at least 30 centimeters or 1 foot to mitigate vermin intrusion, moisture damage, and mechanical damage to the siding. Exterior receptacles below 2.5 meters should be tested for ground fault protection. These safety devices have been required since the early 1970s electrical code, and it is good practice to inform the potential home buyers the location of the master or main resets. You'll want to test the functionality of the GFI protection as well as inspecting the general condition of the housing. All dwellings should have exterior luminaires at entrances, but some older homes may not have them. If missing, it is recommended that they be installed for safety. You want to inspect the housing and seals, check for protective covers, if the bulbs are rated for exterior use, any damage, as well as any critters, debris, or vegetation inside, which may increase the probability of overheating. Landings, entrances, and decks follow similar inspection processes. You want to confirm that the construction follows local having jurisdictional requirements, and this includes inspecting the handrails, stairs, and any structural components that are exposed. You should inspect other exterior finishes such as the cladding, windows, doors, receptacles, and luminaires if present. Now, it is common that landings may have building materials that prevent the inspection of the structural components below. If this is the case, you'll want to disclose this limitation in your inspection report. When inspecting driveways and walkways, you want to check their condition for cracks, spalling, trip hazards, settlement, levelness, and slopes towards buildings. If there's a fence line on the property, we recommend that you inspect the system. However, it should be noted that some home inspection standards of practice do not require you to do so. You'll want to walk the perimeter of the fence, pushing on the support posts and panels while you're probing for rot and noting other deficiencies such as damage, heavy vegetation, leaning, and defective or missing hardware. Any gates that are locked or inoperable should be indicated in your inspection report as a limitation with a photo. As you're performing your exterior inspection, you want to confirm the foundation material. Is it cast-in-place concrete, concrete blocks, ICF, PWF, or piers? If you can't determine the foundation material during your exterior inspection, be sure to do so when you enter the home. If you still can't determine the foundation material, you want to know this in your inspection report as a limitation. Decks are a personal favorite because this is where you can really flex your carpentry knowledge. These structures generally have the most defects because some unskilled homeowners may watch a reality TV show and then decide to become weekend warriors building decks. Some items to inspect are stair construction, including riser height and tread length, handrail designs, stringers, joist, beam, and support post selection, fastener selection, ledger boards, footings, and drip edge flashing if required. Be sure to probe for rot in random areas, specifically horizontal planes, as well as checking the integrity of support posts and handrails. When you have completed inspecting the structural components below the deck, you'll want to continue the inspection on top. Be sure to continue checking the construction and installation of handrails, the decking, cladding, windows, luminaires, receptacles, and gas lines if present. One of the most common defects noted by home inspectors is log grading. The ideal grading slopes away from a structure to reduce the chance of water intrusion inside. However, it is common to find flat grading due to settlement over time. If you notice that the grading is flat or sloping towards the structure, you want to indicate this in your inspection report, as well as being extra vigilant when you inspect the basement or crawl space in these areas. Another note regarding grading is that you should look at the neighboring properties to confirm they are not draining their surface water towards the building you are inspecting, as this can also lead to water intrusion. Speaking of water intrusion, one of the most common ways water enters into structures is due to issues with the downspouts, also known as leaders. First, confirm that a roof drainage system, which includes gutters and downspouts, is installed. Check that they are attached properly, not damaged, and extend a minimum of 6 feet or 1.5 meters away from the structure if possible. If you come across downspouts that terminate below grade, you'll want to include a clause in your inspection report stating that they are not inspected unless, of course, the potential buyer has requested this as an add-on service. These systems can be problematic for a variety of reasons, including blockages and collapse. There are many types of cladding or siding that are used in construction to provide the first plane of protection. Some of the most common types in Canada are vinyl, stucco, hardboard, brick and stone, lumber siding, wood shakes and shingles, eaves, and metal. You want to be looking out for gaps, damage, vermin infestation, incorrect installation, missing sections, as well as improper installation of flashing details. We recommend that you move manageable items such as barbecues and garbage cans away from the structure to check for damage behind them, as they may obstruct your view. If you cannot move an item such as a pile of wood or bricks, include this limitation in your report with at least one photo. Vent termination points should be inspected for multiple items such as adequate air movement and proper airflow direction. You'll want to confirm there are flaps installed which are operating correctly and that there is no debris preventing a seal between the exterior elements and inside the structure. We recommend that during your inspection, you actuate all the exhaust fans, including bathroom fans, kitchen, whole house fans, HRVs and ERVs, as well as any dryers. Make a mental note as to the number of fans that are exhausting and confirm that all termination points are accounted for. When inspecting HVAC termination points, you want to confirm that proper orientation, slope, securement, distance requirements such as ground clearance, anticipated snow loads, proximities to corners, building openings, mechanical and non-mechanical air intakes, decks, regulator vents, as well as flashing and ceiling details have been employed. Be mindful that older homes often lack makeup air and combustion air intakes. However, these systems may or may not be required depending on the HVAC system inside. When testing and inspecting hose bibs, look out for leaks at the valve handle and vacuum breaker assembly. If there is no vacuum breaker assembly, recommend that the potential buyer install one for safety. It is also good practice that the hose bib slopes away from the structure to allow for drainage. Sometimes the supply may be shut and you'll want to confirm with the owners if the supply can be turned on to test the hose bib. If the stem connection is hidden behind drywall or insulation, you want to indicate this in your inspection report, as you may not be able to detect for leaks. Chances are you'll only operate the hose bib for a few seconds versus a homeowner that waters their lawn. If the home you're inspecting has landscaping irrigation systems, you want to check with your standards of practice to check if you are required to inspect these systems. If you are going to inspect these systems, confirm with the sellers if it's okay for you to turn on the water, as the system may be winterized. If the home you're inspecting uses natural gas, be sure to inspect the gas meter. This includes checking for excessive corrosion, securement of the unit and piping, and the distance of the regulator vent to openings, electrical meter bases, and mechanical intakes into the structure. Windows can be a high-cost item to replace, so you want to spend extra time on them. Begin by noting any damage, failed window seals on multi-glazed units, incorrect installation and orientation, missing or defective flashing details, clogged weep holes, deteriorated or missing caulking, and probing for rot if they're made of wood. When performing the roofing inspection, be aware of what is required by the standards of practice you follow. Most standards of practices do not require you to walk on the roof, and there are alternatives such as binoculars, telescopic poles, setting up ladders at eaves, and using drones. Setting up ladders should be done so in a safe manner, and we recommend you research various ladder types before buying one to determine which performs this task safely and efficiently for you. Surface water management begins with the gutters, and again, you want to make sure they are installed. You want to confirm that there are no leaks, debris, damage, and that there is proper slope and securement for the system. As you make your way up the roof line, check to see if drip edge flashing has been installed along with underlayment. Keep in mind though that while drip edge flashing is not required on roof lines by the current building code, there are many advantages when it is installed. Also, there are circumstances when underlayment is not required, so be aware of this as well. Once you're on the roof, we will be inspecting multiple items such as the roof covering materials, termination points, flashing details, vulnerable areas, and ventilation. If you note any vulnerable areas during your roofing inspection, be vigilant and check for signs of water damage in these spots once you're in the attic space and upper floor. Oftentimes, the building science components on the roof are neglected during home inspections. Again, you'll want to confirm that all fans are venting adequately, such as bathrooms, range, and dryer vents. Also, depending on your jurisdiction, screens may not be allowed on certain vent termination points, such as dryers. If the roof requires ventilation, you do not need to perform any insulated drywall ceiling calculations. However, it is good practice to make a mental count of the number of roof vents and then make a professional judgment if it is adequate. All other termination points should be inspected for proper securement, sizing, flashing, and caulking details when required. Valleys can be problematic areas when not maintained or installed correctly. You want to note any debris, damage, and incorrect installation practices such as fasteners installed down the center line or improper overlaps between the valley and roof covering materials. Again, if you see poor workmanship in the valleys, spend extra time in the attic space looking out for signs of water damage and intrusion in these areas. We recommend that you check in random spots on the roof line for drip edge flashing, as it may be installed on the lower roof line but not the upper. In addition, we recommend you inspect shingles in random areas by gently lifting them to check for securement. Be careful, however, to not break the adhesion seal between the layers. Some roof lines that you inspect may have vulnerable areas. These include varying slopes, poor designs such as dead valleys and projections into valleys, as well as changes in the roof covering materials. Again, you want to indicate vulnerable areas in your inspection report, as well as being vigilant to check for water intrusion into the structure in these areas. If the home you're inspecting has a detached garage, the exterior inspection process is similar to the dwelling. This includes performing 2 laps around the structure, checking the exterior walls and grading, as well as the roofing assembly. The interior inspection process of the garage is similar to a dwelling as well. We will discuss this process in further detail shortly, but in a quick summary, after turning on all the lights, fans, and heating equipment, you want to begin taking photos of the interior space, which will document any limitations such as stored items and vehicles to include in your inspection report. Once inside, we recommend inspecting the area above the vehicle door so you can check for any watermarks, damage, organic growth, and incomplete building envelope. Once this area is inspected, open the vehicle door to allow more daylight into the garage to assist with the inspection. Continue inspecting the remaining areas of the ceiling before moving on to the windows, receptacles, and man doors. Now you can inspect the vehicle door. It is very common to find damage to the door and its panels. If the door is made out of wood, probe for rot, especially in the corners of the frame. Likewise, corrosion should be reported and further investigated as to why it is occurring. You want to inspect the components of the door such as the rollers, tracks, hinges, pulleys, springs, and safety sensors. We don't recommend using any objects besides your hand and foot to test these safety sensors, as you can cause damage should the sensors fail or be inoperative. Also, we don't recommend you test the trolley disconnect, but you may want to inform your clients as to its purpose. Before beginning your interior inspection, there are several processes we recommend you employ. First off, walk through the entire home and turn on all the lights and open all the interior doors. This will give you a general layout and feel for the home. The last process we recommend you incorporate after entering the home, but before beginning your interior inspection is to document all the floors. Using a camera, record all the rooms and areas on every floor. These images or videos can be used as limitations in your inspection report if there are stored items such as boxes or furniture obstructing review, as well as assisting your clients if damages occur or if appliances are swapped after the condition removal date. Next, depending on the standards or practice you follow, you may or may not be required to test appliances such as dishwashers and laundry facilities. Should you decide to include these into your inspection, we recommend starting the washer, dryer, and dishwasher once you enter the home to allow enough time for complete cycles. We don't recommend you engage these appliances when you're not inside the home. We will discuss the basic inspection process for these appliances shortly. When inspecting the dishwasher, you want to be vigilant of any watermarks or water damage around the unit, as this may indicate an ongoing or past concern. If you notice swelling on the flooring, this is another note for further investigation. When you first open the door, gently push down on it to confirm the appliance is secured. Next, look around the door seal and note any damage, debris, or debris accumulation. Then, pull out each rack individually, confirming smooth operation and that the stops are in place. After the cycle is completed, if possible, remove the kick plate below the unit and check for any active leaks or other notes of concern. When inspecting the wash machine, check the door and door seals for damage and integrity. Noting any faded labels on the control manifold into your inspection report is also good practice. You want to look behind the laundry facilities for any corrosion and leaks at the water lines, check for disconnected or damaged vent lines, note any debris or lint accumulation, as well as checking below the wash machine after the cycle has been completed to check for any leaks. Now we're ready to begin our inspection, starting with the main heating appliance in the dwelling. Typically, this is going to be a furnace, boiler, or electric radiant heating. In this home, we have a furnace. We start with a general inspection. First, we remove all the cabinet doors, record the data plate, check inside for debris, scorching, loose components, watermarks, corrosion, and any active leaks. You can inspect the plenum for signs of water damage and debris, and the air filter for cleanliness, proper sizing, and orientation. After your initial inspection of the furnace, we want to engage the heating appliance and confirm its operation. We recommend increasing the temperature by 5 degrees, watching the firing sequence, and then using our gas detection devices to catch any leaks. The reason why we increase the thermostat 5 degrees is because typically it takes between 20 and 40 minutes for the appliance to reach this set point, allowing you more time to detect any deficiencies for the appliance while it's operating. As you continue your inspection in the mechanical room, you want to be listening for any abnormal noises such as loud venter motors or if the unit is misfiring. Now we can begin a more in-depth inspection of the furnace and its components. This includes that AC90 armored cable is installed for the circuit branch wiring if required, an electrical disconnect switch, if also required, is labeled, that metal gas piping is bonded, has a shutoff valve along with a sediment trap, and there's a unit installed at the gas valve for servicing. After confirming we have no gas leaks, we want to verify that all the heating supply units such as the ducts and radiators are producing heat. Using a thermal imaging camera, temperature gun, or even your hand, go to each heating unit and confirm that it is operational. Oftentimes, you will find disconnected ducts or ducts that are covered by flooring and drywall. Naturally, you should include these deficiencies into your inspection report. Some homes that utilize forced air heating may have humidifiers. Again, we want to operate and confirm that these appliances are working. After confirming the water supply is turned on, increase the humidistat and this should engage the fill mechanism, whether that is a solenoid valve, float system, steam generator, or atomizer. Inspect the appliance to see if humidification is occurring and there are no leaks. Keep in mind that the humidifier should only operate when the furnace blower fan is engaged. Have a look at the pad or tray to see if it is clean and that the drain line, if equipped, is in good condition and draining to an appropriate location. The last item we inspect with forced air heating systems are the plenums. You want to indicate any significant openings around the furnace, as these not only lead to efficiency loss, but can also cause condensation to form if an air conditioner is installed. The best locations to inspect the cleanliness of return air ducts is in the living room or master bedroom, as we generally spend most of our time here. One thing to note is housekeeping. It is very common for homeowners to store items in mechanical rooms that don't belong there, such as varsols, paints, jerry cans, vehicle batteries, and kitty litter boxes. If you see these items, you should recommend that they be removed to avoid damaging the appliances in the mechanical room and maintaining higher levels of air quality inside the house. After completing the HVAC portion of the inspection, we move on to the plumbing components. We begin with the water heater and capture the data plate. The data plate will tell you information such as the capacity, age, BTU rating, fuel source, and other items which you can include in your report. We recommend indicating where the thermostat is so that the potential buyers can adjust the temperature to prevent scalding or set it to vacation mode if required. After completing the water heater inspection, you want to capture the location of the water meter and the main water shutoff, as well as the type of supply and drain plumbing lines in the home. The final system we inspect is the panel board. Most standards or practices do not require that you remove the dead front. However, if you choose to do so, you want to make sure that it is de-energized using a Voltic. Wearing proper personal protective equipment, which may include a full face shield, electrician's gloves, and appropriate footwear is recommended. Before removing the dead front, confirm that the service access and installation location are suitable. After removing the cover, you can now inspect for debris, signs of water damage, and incorrect installation practices. You'll want to know the main disconnect rating size as well as the circuit branch wiring, whether it's copper or aluminum. Lastly, should you choose to test any overcurrent protection devices such as AFCI or GFCI breakers, you may want to leave a note for the sellers informing them that you have done so in case they need to reset clocks, entertainment systems, or medical devices. One last recommendation is to take a photo before and after removing the dead front to ensure that you did not function the breaker operating mechanisms by accident. After completing the inspection in the mechanical room, we're going to begin our general inspection of the basement, starting in the bathroom. We recommend the following inspection process. Start by inspecting and testing the door and the hardware to the room. Then, the ceiling using a high-powered flashlight with at least 1000 lumens for any watermarks or damage. This is followed by testing any windows and their hardware, as well as inspecting for any signs of failed seals and water ingress. If you note any dirty exhaust fan covers, recommend these be cleaned for optimal air movement. A vacuum cleaner or dishwasher are great ways to clean the grills. Next, you want to test the receptacles. Modern homes should have GFI protected receptacles in multiple areas such as the kitchen, bathrooms, and the exterior. You want to test these safety devices using an outlet analyzer that has GFI testing capabilities, or using the test function on the receptacle or the overcurrent protection device. After completing the general inspection of the room, we're now going to inspect and test the fixtures. Before turning on any of the water, you want to look for any corrosion, surface defects in the sinks, toilets, and bath or showering units. If there is tile, gently push on them to confirm they are fully adhered to the wall and there is no movement. Now we can begin running the water, starting by running the hot side first, then switching to the cold and ending in the middle. This is the same process for the basin and bathing fixture. We recommend running the water for 10 minutes per fixture. For the water closet, you want to make sure that the hardware is installed and in good condition. Check for securement to the anchor bolts, confirm that a shutoff valve is installed for the water supply, and we recommend running the unit for 10 minutes as well. Once you have the water running, you want to check for leaks within the first 30 seconds and then every 2 to 3 minutes to make sure things are flowing where they should. During this time, take a look under the sink and behind the bathing unit if permissible to spot any leaks, water damage, proper trap installation, slope and venting of the drain waste and venting system, as well as recommending any shutoff valves if they're not present. After inspecting the major systems in the home, along with the bathrooms and the plumbing fixtures in the basement, we're now going to begin our general interior inspection, starting in the lowest level of the dwelling. The process is similar to how we inspected the basement bathroom, which begins with testing doors and their hardware, followed by checking ceilings for watermarks and damage, functioning windows and their hardware including blinds, looking for signs of water damage around the windows, and making sure that screens are installed and in good condition. Lastly, we're going to test the receptacles using our outlet analyzer. While you're conducting the interior inspection, you want to be looking out for safety devices such as smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. You want to confirm that these safety devices are not expired and they typically have a shelf life of 7 to 10 years depending on the manufacturer. The last item we're going to inspect in the basement is for water intrusion at the exterior perimeter walls. The easiest way to do this is by using a high-powered flashlight to check the baseboards for any water damage and any water marks. You can also use a scratch awl to check behind the baseboards, so long as you don't break any caulking or paint seals or cause damage to the building materials. An alternative method is by lifting the carpet and looking at the carpet tack strips for any signs of water damage or organic growth. However, this should only be attempted without damaging any of the building materials. After completing the basement inspection, we're going to begin the same process on the main and upper floors. This begins by running plumbing fixtures and inspecting the bathrooms first. Then we inspect the rooms and closets, starting with the doors, ceilings, windows, receptacles, and finishing in the kitchen last. We recommend that you turn off all the lights in the basement before going upstairs, as the heat from the luminaires may impede the final inspection step, which is the thermal imaging scan of the structure. After completing our recommended interior inspection process in the kitchen, we recommend that you inspect the cabinets and the counters as well as the remaining appliances. Open the cabinet doors and test any movable racks or shelves and confirm that all the countertops are secured. When inspecting exterior doors, there are a few items you want to be looking out for. First off, you want to confirm there is smooth operation of the door. You want to make sure that all the hardware is in place and operating correctly, including knobs, deadbolts, weather stripping, fasteners for the hinges, and the doorbell as well. After completing the general inspection on the remaining floors, we're going to move into the attic space, but first, a few housekeeping items. First off, you want to use a tarp or a drop cloth to catch any insulation that may fall from the attic onto the floor. Secondly, you'll want to wash your hands to prevent leaving any fingerprints on the attic hatch. As you enter the attic, look for weather stripping and insulation on the hatch, as it is often missing or deteriorated. Once inside the attic, we're going to begin the building science portion of the inspection before moving on to the structural components. We're going to be inspecting the roof and soffit ventilation if present. We're going to be inspecting the insulation type and depth, as well as confirming the integrity of the air barrier around suspect areas such as vent stacks, chimneys, light fixtures, electrical conduits, and partition walls. One tip for inspecting soffit ventilation is by turning off your flashlight and looking into the soffits for daylight. Depending on your jurisdiction, homes in your area may be susceptible to attic rain, so be on the lookout for this as well. After completing the building science portion of the attic space, we're going to move on to the structural components. In most homes, the attic space and mechanical room will likely be the only two areas where the structural components are revealed. We want to be looking out for damaged building materials such as roof decking and altered trusses, damaged rafters, and water damage, and you may come across failing fasteners from time to time. Naturally, you should document all these deficiencies into your inspection report. If you're inspecting multifamily structures such as row houses or duplexes, you want to confirm party walls and gas separation means are in place or upgraded if missing. After the attic, the last item we're going to perform is the thermal imaging scan. We're going to start in the mechanical room where we began our interior inspection and retrace our path back upstairs where we ended at the attic hatch. One thing to keep in mind is to switch between looking at the display on your thermal imaging camera while still being mindful of your surroundings so that you don't get tunnel vision. Before leaving the home, we recommend you complete one final walkthrough to make sure that you've reset the house accordingly. This includes shutting off all the lights, closing all the doors and windows, making sure all the personal belongings are placed back where they were before you arrived, and confirming all the exterior doors are locked. You may need to reference your general photos or videos of each floor to confirm the location of items that you may have moved during the inspection. Thank you again for joining us today on this brief inspection process video. I want to remind you again that while we recommend you become well versed in your local jurisdictional codes, as a home inspector, you're not required to know them. However, you will want to be aware of the inspection requirements of the standards of practice you follow. If you have any suggestions or feedback for this video, we'd love to hear from you, and you can send us an email through our contact form on our website at homeinspectortraining.ca. See you in the next video.